Hello, and welcome to a lesson on low-cost cooling. We're going to talk about strategies for how to reduce our cooling cost. And what we have to do first is to review just exactly how heat accumulates inside of a building. So, the main source of accumulated heat is the sun, especially in drier climates. And so we've got to do things that will reduce the amount of solar gain that we get, especially through the roof and through the windows. There is also the difference in temperature between the indoors and the outdoors, which is less important. And two more important things are the air leakage, so we need to seal air leaks. And we also have internal gains, and so we need efficient appliances. But mainly what we're going to talk about in this part of the lesson is reducing solar gain. And the first thing that we can do to reduce solar gain is to have a cool roof. And this is an example of one of the coolest roofs that you can have. It's a white concrete tile roof. And with a roof like this, you're probably going to save 20% on your air conditioning costs. And those of you who live in milder climates may, through this one energy conservation measure, be able to use very little air conditioning. And if you don't like a white roof, you can become a trendsetter. White roofs will eventually become popular. And it's because they keep buildings cooler and they preserve the roofing material and help it to last longer. So if you don't like white roofs, I urge you to get over it. Next would be solar screens or sunscreens. And what these solar screens or sunscreens do, they're installed on the outside of a window. They intercept the sun's rays, and they absorb the sun's rays, and they allow that heat to be dissipated outside the building. They don't allow most of the sun inside the building. They're anywhere from 70% to 80% efficient in blocking solar radiation. Then we have awnings, which are quite popular in very sunny climates. You know, the awning's effectiveness depends on how wide the awning is and how far it drops over the window. And so there is some aesthetic problems with awnings, but awnings are popular in some regions, and we think that they're very effective. These are just some examples of many, many things that you can do to reduce the amount of solar gain. And we're talking about roofs and windows. Those are the two big components that we're looking at with solar gain. So I would also urge you not to listen to people who say that triple pane windows are not cost effective, because in most climates they are cost effective and they have other advantages that you should know about. The modern triple pane window can give you a very clear, unopposed vision of the outdoors, let a lot of visible light in, but block most of the solar heat, because you can put two low E sun blocking coatings on this glass. So you have 3 pieces of glass, you can have 2 coated surfaces, and you can get that solar heat gain coefficient down to, say, 15 or 20%, or even lower than that. And that's where we need it to be in climates where we're using a lot of energy and spending a lot of money on air conditioning. Or we can also do what the Europeans do. They just block their windows off in the heat of the day and don't let any solar gain in. This is a rolling external shutter, and the Europeans, Even in Italy, many people use no air conditioning and have relative comfort in their homes by using external shutters and shades. All right, now let's talk about what kind of mechanical devices we can use that are not air conditioning. Of course, we know we can air condition our homes and make them comfortable most of the time, but there are some devices that we can use that may either prevent us from using air conditioning, or they may help us to use far less air conditioning. The reason why this is important, first of all, electricity is getting more expensive. You can save money. Second of all, electricity and our need to use electricity during the hottest days of the year is one of the biggest environmental problems that we face. So it's important for us all to think about that. Not only the money-saving aspect, but the environmental aspect. Okay, so we've got a couple of different strategies, and the simplest strategy is over on this side. We can use the prevailing wind. Here we have a windsock. The wind's coming from this direction, and we have a fan right here. So the wind is blowing air into the building on this side, and we have exhaust air out of the building on this side, and we're doing this when the temperature is low, usually at night. So even if you live in Sacramento and it was 115 degrees today, well, it just so happens that in Sacramento's climate, it may get all the way down to the high 60s. And so you can take and move a lot of air through your home and remove a lot of heat from the walls and the floors and the furnitures and the ceiling, and cool that house down and possibly get 5, 6, 7 hours of free air conditioning in the morning, and it isn't until later that you have to turn your air conditioning system on. So with this, you're using the wind. With something like this where you're putting a fan in a window at the top of the stairs or higher in the building, you're using the stack effect. The air wants to go this way anyway, so why don't we speed it up? The whole name of the game here is to circulate a lot of air and keep it circulating while that temperature is low. Then we have a whole house fan, which is a much larger fan than these window fans. We can move a lot of air, and what we're doing is we're taking the air in through the windows and up through the attic and out through the attic vents. So we need larger attic vents. That's one strategy. Then in the drier climates, we can use an evaporative cooler. And this surface right here is a pad, and you have water dripping onto this pad, and you have this blower sucking air from the outside into here, humidifying the air, which drops its temperature, okay? Now, this is for dry climates. It doesn't work in wet climates. So we have our evaporative cooler here on the roof or alongside of the house or near a window. So we bring hot air into the evaporative cooler. It gets humidified, which drops its temperature. We bring the lower temperature into the home or building, and then we have open windows and the air is forced out. So you have this constant circulation of fresh, low temperature air. This works well in dry climates. So these are 3 strategies using fans that we can use to reduce the amount of air conditioning that we use or cool our buildings without air conditioning.